Okay, so here is some real talk. I do not start seeds in December because I am super patient or wise. I started seeds in December because I am anxious and excited and I didn't want to keep killing my plants. So instead of just guessing every year, I did start to track my data. I tracked when I planted, when I started it, and how it actually did in the garden. And now I've got 4 years of data on what actually works when you start seeds in December. So today I'm going to walk you through my data back December seed starting, which seeds I start now, why the timing works, and how I group things by light, temperature, and sowing depth. So we're not just throwing seeds at trays and hoping for the best, like a lot of us tried in our first couple of years. So if you've ever wondered, am I starting too early? Is this a waste of seed? You're going to like this because it isn't just a haul video. This is me, my spreadsheets, and 4 winners of trial and error doing the nerdy stuff for you. Stay tuned till the end to be able to get my garden planner for free. No signups, no nothing required. If you could subscribe, that would be fabulous. What we're starting in December is stevia, lemon balm, common sage, stock, snapdragons, lysianthus, hollyhocks, yarrow, bee balm, also known as wild bergamot, and larkspur. And each sheet we go through is going to explain why these are the ones we are going to be starting this month. The first thing you need to be aware of when you are starting seeds are 4 things on my list: days to maturity, the date you want to transplant, remembering your hardening off time frame, and then your first and last frost dates. These are so important to make sure you're not going to kill off your seedlings. Next, we want to make sure that we are grouping our seedlings for the best outcome. So we want to look at the seed depth, the temperature, and make sure it can actually be started indoors and you're not going to disturb the roots too much because that is detrimental to any seedling. There are basically 2 ways to sow your seeds. It's either surface sown or you're actually putting them in the dirt like a quarter of an inch, an eighth of an inch, and that all depends on the size of the seed. And you're normally wanting to go about 3 times the width of the seed in the depth. So surface sown seeds for December would be our stevia, lemon balm, snapdragons, lysianthus, hollyhocks, yarrow, and bee balm. When you are surface sowing your seeds, you want to do something called bottom watering. This is because any water that you put onto the top of your seeds is going to displace the seeds and could accidentally bury them and inadvertently remove them from the light they need to germinate. So you're going to lift up your tray, and then in that bottom tray is where you're going to put the water. That water is going to soak up into the soil, and that is how your seed is going to get water. So you just want to make sure you put enough in there to begin with that it's going to lock in that moisture. When seeds call for being sown a quarter of an inch deep, usually that does mean they don't need light to germinate and they prefer a darker spot to germinate. A good rule of thumb, again, is to remember that we are planting the seeds 2 to 3 times their width in depth. So our quarter-inch sown weeds, seeds are going to be common sage, stock, and larkspur. One of the things I mentioned earlier that is extremely important is remembering the temperature that your seeds germinate best at. This is not what they grow best at, but what germinates the seeds. So one of our groupings is also going to be under 60 degrees Fahrenheit, the next 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and the third is going to be 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you can see on this page, I have them each grouped in their own little area. Now we have our actual seed groupings based on all the previous information. Group 1 is going to be yarrow and bee balm. They both need to be surface sown and they need 60 degrees Fahrenheit to germinate. Group 2 is going to be stevia, lemon balm, lysianthus, hollyhocks. Excuse me. All these need to be surface sown and their germination temperature is 65 degrees Fahrenheit. For group 3, we got common sage and stock because they have to go a fourth of an inch deep and they like to germinate at 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Group 4 is larkspur because it has to be its own little special snowflake and that needs 1/4 of an inch deep, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what sets it apart. Next is snapdragons, which are also going to get their own grouping because they are, even though snapdragons love cool weather, they do germinate best around 70 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and be surface sown. I know a lot of people think that's cool weather. I think that's perfect weather. I think it's nice and warm, and I'm all happy. All right, and now where do you want to buy your seeds from? These are my top choices. It's Johnny Selected Seeds, which can be a little bit more expensive, but you normally get more seeds. Rare Seeds, also known as Baker Creek. I've been using them for years. Swallowtail Seeds is new to me, but the seeds I have gotten have germinated so well. I try to buy a lot more from them when I can. They are smaller, so they do have less of options. Botanical Interests, and then Eden Brothers. Now, Eden Brothers, I will let you know, is not always great, but that's where I do buy bulk seeds when I'm doing like a massive flower field because it saves a ton of money and enough germinate to make the flower field look awesome. If all of this kind of makes your head spin and you would rather just have a plug and go type of spreadsheet to go from, um, I do have a copy of my planner that is available. The calculations are preset. You just swap out your garden zone dates. It has all the links to where to buy the seeds from. All you would need to do is email me at brennan.lee.fitzpatrick@gmail.com and I'll give you access to make a copy. I'm not going to be keeping anybody's information. I just have to have an email to share it with. If you would like to subscribe to my website, you can please check out moonlightandmuckboots.com and then click on Get the Dirt. Send your email and you are good to go. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. If you like these types of videos, please go ahead and like, subscribe, share. Check out the garden planner if you would like, and I hope you have a blessed and magical week, y'all. Bye.